Hey guys, so we got some breaking WWE news coming out in the last 20, 30 minutes or so, and it's honestly, it's quite disturbing. If I'm going to be really upfront and frank about it, it's very, very disturbing to me because Vince McMahon essentially has begun to wage a war on third-party platforms or third-party services that his WWE Superstars, talent, employees, etc. are using. And that would specifically, presumably, mean the likes of Twitch and Cameo. Now, it's a report that's come out from WrestlingInc.com, very credible website. They have a pretty good track record when it comes to their stories and when it comes to things that they report. It's an exclusive from them, so obviously there's a lot of swirling going on at the moment. A lot of people discussing this, if this is true, the ramifications if it is true, etc. But I'll read out the majority of the article here. But essentially, I'll give you the footnotes before we go into a proper deep dive on it. Vince McMahon essentially has told WWE Superstars, talents, employees, you have 30 days to start working with these third-party platforms such as Twitch, such as Cameo, etc., streaming services, before you will then, if you are after those 30 days, you're going to start seeing fines, suspensions, terminations, etc. Now, before I get into how ridiculous that is, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Before I get into how ridiculous that really is, let's read the article. Now, it says that Vince McMahon issued an edict this past week in that talent can no longer, quote, engage with outside third parties, end quote. This would presumably include platforms like Cameo and Twitch. WWE held a call with talent last Sunday regarding the reinvention of the product. During the call, it was said that WWE owns the real names of talent, not just their character names. Now, before I continue on, that line for me there is horrifying. Is absolutely horrifying. WWE owns the real names of talent, not just their character names. What a load of BS. No, they don't. No, they don't. They really don't. You can't tell me that WWE owns the name Mark Calloway, because they don't. They own your character name. If it's a character name that was created by WWE or whatever, they own that name. That's intellectual property, absolutely. But they don't own people's real names. That is just scaremongering. That is not true and not legal. So they're trying to say there that you can't even go on Twitch or whatever and like AJ Styles, right? They're saying to almost to AJ Styles there, you can't go on there and be Alan Jones or whatever his real name is. You can't do that. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. For a variety of reasons, which we'll get into, but you can't say you own people's real names because they don't. And that's just absolute scaremongering. That's absolute BS. And it's horrifying to hear stuff like that. Absolutely horrifying. To forget some of the other stuff, that is just horrifying. Now, the article states McMahon followed this up by sending a letter on Thursday. McMahon wrote that it was imperative that they promote and protect the brand in every conceivable way, and that talent have 30 days to stop engaging with third parties. According to Wrestling Inc., this letter said, quote, some of you are engaged with outside third parties using your name and likeness in ways that are detrimental to our company, end quote. He also said, quote, it is imperative that these activities will be terminated within the next 30 days. By Friday, October 2nd, continued violations will result in fines, suspensions, or termination at WWE's discretion, end quote. McMahon then wrote that these actions are necessary as part of WWE's rebuilding process as they, quote, enter the next phase of growth at WWE, end quote. Now, again, there is so much to delve into there because it's BS. It's absolute BS. It's not true. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's outrageous. That's what it is. It's outrageous. WWE have this long history, and so does professional wrestling, but WWE set the precedent for it. They don't have employees in the ring. They have employees in Stamford, Connecticut, working in the offices like any other corporation. But the people making the real money for WWE, the people taking the bumps in the ring, the people, not at the moment, but previously, away from their families for over 300 days a year, traveling all over the world for Vince McMahon, they were labelled as independent contractors. Not full-time employees, independent contractors. So while they were on the road, this meant that their travel, their hotels, their accommodation, their their meals, any of it was not covered by WWE. They had to pay for all of that because they're an independent contractor. This also meant any health benefits, anything like that, any health insurance for their family, anything, did not get covered by the WWE. They don't give out health benefits or insurance or anything like that. WWE doesn't cover that because their wrestlers are independent contractors. So WWE can't have it both ways. For me, even in 2020, having professional wrestlers being named as independent contractors is disgusting enough because we all know. But the problem is that at this point, there's not a lot that a professional wrestler can do because that's how it is. And the problem is that if a professional wrestler goes, well, I'm not going to work for WWE because they have people as independent contractors, WWE really doesn't care because they will find someone else and someone else will take the spot. But to say that because we own your real name, even though you're an independent contractor, and to say that you're an independent contractor, yet we're telling you can't work with third-party people to make a bit more money during a pandemic, by the way, during a time which people's income have been severely restricted, even in WWE. People have been taking pay cuts. People that have gone from NXT to the main roster, they're still on NXT contracts, developmental contracts. People who are being signed to NXT are on 6-week trials now. And I don't want that to sound as, oh, woe is me, and all that sort of stuff. Times have changed, and we are in a pandemic, and times are tough, and things are a bit close financially. I understand that. But to say to people like AJ Styles and Adam Cole, or whoever, that they can't do their Twitch streams anymore because WWE owns their real names, what a load of BS. And we're already starting to hear reports and rumors that there are top stars in the company very unhappy about this, which would make you reevaluate when people are saying, because I posted this on social media, and initially a lot of the response I got was, well, we have to wait until see if this is true. I really doubt that Wrestling Inc., a site like Wrestling Inc., and reporters from Wrestling Inc. who are credible would go live with a story this damaging, and it's a big allegation to make against WWE and Vince McMahon. I doubt they would go with this if they didn't have 100% credible sources. And we are hearing every other reporter now coming out saying that their sources are saying that specific top people in the company are unhappy with this, and there is truth in it, there is validity in it. When people are saying that specifically there's one top star in the company that's not happy with it, I wouldn't want to speculate, but if you told me I had to, I would suggest it's probably AJ Styles, because AJ Styles has a big Twitch platform. He's on Twitch at least once a week. I don't know in terms of the money that he makes off of it. Some people, I know Dakota Kai in NXT, I know she is on a Twitch streamer. A lot of the time, any donations that she has, it goes straight to charity. You would think that WWE would want that, right? You would think that WWE would want their superstars doing good, helping charitable causes through Twitch. But Vince McMahon just sees it as money that's not going into his or the WWE's pocket. It's going into someone else's, whether it is a charitable organization or whether it's straight into the pocket of the WWE superstars themselves. But why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they be able to make money outside of the WWE? They're not hurting anyone. They're doing Cameo, they're doing Twitch. But classic WWE, classic Vince McMahon, they have to control that. They need to control that. Any way that the boys or the girls have found a way to make money on their own or make some extra income on their own, Vince McMahon, oh no, you can't do that. And again, it'll come down to, I think, if push comes to shove, legally, WWE can't do it. And I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. I'm not an expert in law. I'm over here in the UK. I'm not an expert in UK law. Certainly not an expert in US law or state by state law over there in Connecticut or wherever, Florida, who knows. But just as a novice here, I can say that it's very unlikely that they they can't do this legally. They really can't, because it's not possible. It's not possible. You can't call someone an independent contractor and then manage every single thing they do and tell them to stop working with or getting contracts with other people. You can't, unless there is something in that WWE contract which prohibits them, and I don't know if this is the case, this might be their legal loophole, unless there is something in that WWE contract that says you can't you can't have a thing for Twitch, you can't have a thing for Cameo, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, you're promoting your talent to work on the likes of Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. So where does it stop? Where does it stop? WWE is turning into this big brother-like facade that they have to manage everything. Everything. And I'm checking my phone now and I'm seeing all these reporters, Sean Ross Sapp, saying most WWE's wrestlers I've spoken to are not happy in what they consider an overreach by WWE. Not everyone was upset, though. Some understood it. The people that understood it, in my opinion, are just the same people that will say anything to make themselves happy. Brian Alvarez has come out and said, it's true, Vince has laid the smackdown on talent using Twitch, TikTok, etc. More to come this afternoon. I hadn't even thought of TikTok, to be honest. The whole point of the Lana Natalia angle on TV right now is that they're these obnoxious TikTokers. They can't even do it. It's ridiculous. And it's stupid. It's stupid. In my opinion, you're just almost forcing more people out of the door for WWE. Why would you want to be there? The atmosphere and morale at times there is always questionable. Whether it's the bureaucracy that goes on there, whether it's the how you can speak to Vince, whether it's the scripting, whether it's the storytelling, whether it's the yes men going through a million people to get ideas there, creative frustration, whatever. And now you're getting micromanaged to the point where you're told that even your real name is owned by the company. And now you're being told you can't do anything outside to make any form of money. Remember CM Punk, that interview with Colt Cabana all those years ago? With him saying outside projects were turned down and then given to other people. Movie roles, TV roles, merchandising deals, write-in deals. WWE has to own everything, but again, how can they do that if you're not an employee? It brings it up once again. And it's interesting because WWE wrestlers, like I mentioned, they're classified as independent contractors. And this isn't new news, the independent contractor thing, but it's been heavily criticized in the past. You remember when Last Week Tonight, the show by John Oliver on HBO, when was that, last year? And they criticized WWE for their deal with the Saudi Arabia thing and going over to do the Saudi shows. And then they really started to dig deep and went, wait a minute, these guys and girls there are independent contractors. They're not getting health benefits. They're not getting insurance. They're getting nothing. And they're taking these bumps and they're on the road 300 days a year. And some of them, their pay barely covers their trans. It's a very murky world, and it's a murky underbelly to WWE that not a lot of people like to talk about. WWE certainly doesn't like to talk about. We've seen these sort of embarrassing moments in interviews over the last couple of years. I remember, I think it was Stephanie McMahon. She was doing like a Zoom interview. This wasn't that long ago. It was a couple of months ago, and they're talking about the pandemic and how they're helping their employees. And the interviewer, obviously, I don't know if she had or she hadn't done her research, but the interviewer goes, what are you doing in terms of providing insurance or health benefits for your employees? And Stephanie McMahon has to stop them there. Well, all of our employees are independent contractors, so we don't offer medical or health benefits. Okay, and you can just sort of tell as an outsider, as people that aren't wrestling fans, maybe we're just numb to it at this point, because when people that aren't on the inside of wrestling and they hear that for the first time, everyone without fail goes, are you kidding me? Seriously? Because it's crazy how they can get away with it. And that pro wrestling is built on it. It's built on it. And it always has been built on this independent contract of BS. And it continues, and it's wrong. It's wrong, and it's dirty, and it makes you feel bad for being a wrestling fan because, again, we don't like to talk about it. WWE doesn't talk about it. Talent can't really talk about it. And every time they do talk about the independent contractor thing, my word, they get hounded by even some of the wrestlers because you're hurting the boys or you're hurting the girls or anything like that. Remember Ryback came out and kind of did it, and parts of what Ryback was saying I thought were nonsensical about the pay stuff, but he was right about the independent contractors. And this is just the latest evidence of this overreach that WWE is trying to do. It's too far now. It's way too far. You can't, and maybe it does seem trivial to say that people are gonna, this is the mountain they're gonna die on when it comes to Cameo and Twitch and TikTok. Does it really seem that important? No, it doesn't. But I think it's the purpose and it's the principle involved in that at this point. Who's Vince McMahon to tell someone that you can't go on Twitch and play a game in front of fans? Who's that? Who's that? And where does it stop? Does YouTube count as third party? You can't have a YouTube channel? Where does it stop? You can't have a private Twitter account? Where does it stop? It's ridiculous. But WWE's allowed to, right? WWE's allowed to have a YouTube channel. WWE's allowed to have a Twitch account. And I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to a point where WWE have their own Cameo account. And instead, you pay for a WWE Superstar through Cameo. And WWE takes the majority of that money and gives a little bit over to the Superstar, right? And it's silly. It's silly. And WWE, they could have got ahead of it. They could have put it in contracts saying you can't do third-party streaming platforms, but they didn't. They didn't. As far as I'm aware, they didn't. And to tell people that they have 30 days to stop doing it, or they're going to get fined, or they're going to get suspended, or even fired, I think, in my opinion, it's going to lead to a game of chicken. I really do. You're telling me that Vince McMahon's going to go to AJ Styles, oh, you know you really like gaming, and you know you really like doing your Twitch stuff and playing the games with the fans and all that sort of stuff. You you can't do that now. You think AJ Styles is going to do that? I think he told Vince McMahon to F off. He'd be like, go, leave then. They're going to fine or suspend or even fire AJ Styles over Twitch? I don't think so. You're telling me they're going to fire AJ Styles? He should go to AEW or back to New Japan and make a ton of money. Or will they fine him? If he fines them, they'll just sit at home. I just don't see how WWE can try and force this. I don't see how they can police this. I don't know, because for me, it doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem possible. So look, again, stuff's coming out all the time as I'm recording right now. But there is a tweet by David Bixbun, who's got like a previous WWE contract. He says, from skimming the most recent WWE talent contract we have, it seems likely that WWE is citing the quote exclusivity end quote terms to try and stop the quote independent contractor talent from making additional income monetizable content creation platforms such as Twitch, Cameo, and YouTube. So like I said, they're looking in the contract as saying that they're exclusive. But the idea, like I said, there is so much part of this story that is, to me, very, very disturbing. The whole independent contractor thing, just in general, is very, very disturbing. Always, that's just how it is. But the most disturbing thing for me is that they are trying to stop talent making money during a pandemic. That's just horrific. And two, the idea that they own people's real names, that is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They don't own Mark Calloway's name. They don't own the name Drew Galloway. They don't own Adam Shear, Braun Strowman. They don't own any of that. They don't. Unless it's a character name that has been used on WWE television, they don't own it. They don't own the name Paul Levesque for Triple H. I'm telling you, they don't. So that idea is scaremongering. I think it's intimidation to talent, and I think that overreach here is wrong, and I just think it's disgusting. And I think maybe WWE this is a massive error on their part, because hopefully this gets the conversation going again about the whole independent contractor thing, because it's BS. I don't think the independent contractor thing will change anytime soon. It's just a thing as wrestling fans we for some reason roll our eyes at, and we try and put to the back of our mind, because if we think about it too much, it's very upsetting. But I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. More will be coming out about it soon. It's, by all accounts now, it's been pretty much confirmed that this is legitimate. So by Friday, October 2nd, WWE Superstars will have to stop engaging with third-party content platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Cameo. Basically any extra way they can make money, and WWE doesn't. That's what it comes down to, which is disgusting, which is absolutely disgusting. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Vince McMahon telling WWE Superstars they can no longer engage with outside third parties, including Cameo, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and others? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys down there. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really just help us out here on YouTube. Go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365 here on YouTube. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, watching, listening, streaming, or wherever you come across this video today. And I'll speak to you again very soon. I'm screaming because I'm furious. I think it's disgusting. But I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.